Good evening, it's Lou Ann, and I'm here tonight on Motivational Monday with a message around perseverance. But before we get started, I want to show you where I'm at. I'm at a beautiful store called A Beautiful Soul. It's all spiritual, metaphysical tools and gifts for people. I would walk sideways so you can see behind me jewelry and essential oils and angel cards and oracle cards. And over here, we have healing herbs that you can choose from. We've got incense. My friend Bryn McManus owns this store here in Rochester and is letting me broadcast from here tonight because we have a meeting at 7 o'clock to talk about an event that we're going to do on August 13th here in the Design District. So I'm just giving you the whole big picture. Candles. And she's really helpful to other people. I help you promote other people's products and services. So my cards and things like this help promote what we're doing and helping people motivate, live an inspirational life, discover their passions. So I thank her. She is back with a customer right now, or I'd have her share with you directly on why she started this. But I can tell you what she said to me. Going back in the office here. Ooh, I better shut the door so we have some privacy. She wanted to create a community of people who believe in the spiritual and want the support of the tools that she has in her store. And I have no doubt that it took her some perseverance to pull it together and get this store set up. Oh, I want to read you the address of the store. Where did I put that? The card. Okay, it is 619 6th Avenue Northwest. 619 6th Avenue Northwest in Rochester. And so if you're in Rochester and you're watching this and you like all of those things and you want spiritual support in your life, come join the community at A Beautiful Soul shop here, and you'll meet the people that are participating in developing those tools in our community. And again, August 13th, we're going to be doing a big event on the street here, celebrating transformation and spiritual work. So on to perseverance. Perseverance, as a matter of fact, I am persevering this evening in continuing my Motivational Mondays, even though nobody's showing up live in order to talk with me. But one day you will. One day you will be so inspired to stop by on a Monday evening to get the love and support that you need when you need support to persevere. So let me read the definition of perseverance to you as we get into this discussion. It is to continue in a course of action, even in the face of difficulty. To continue in a course of action, even in the face of difficulty. That sounds a lot like life in general. Life in general is ongoing challenges, change, and things that we need to work through. And so we need to persevere. Now it adds, with little or no prospect of success. I'm not sure I like that part because I believe there's always a vision of success. There's always a dream of success. So the reason that I picked this topic tonight is because I just attended an amazing kayaking retreat. And the theme of the retreat was perseverance. And so we talked a lot about it. And when and where in our lives do we persevere? Let me read you a quote that they put in the journal that they gave us at the retreat. The human experience is the story of perseverance. Throughout space and time, humans have always persevered. We wouldn't be here without them. Margaret Wheatley is a quote from Margaret Wheatley. So again, right, like life in general is ongoing perseverance through the day-to-day of what happens to us and through our experiences. And sometimes we need support for that. We talked about, where did you persevere as an individual? Where can you identify in your life that you have persevered as an individual? I want you to think deeply about that, because what I found in the conversations that we had is that people persevere all the time, but we fail to acknowledge that's what we're doing and give ourselves credit for that. Instead, we stay stuck in the drudgery and sort of become the complainers in the misery, rather than celebrating the fact that we continue to go on in the face of whatever challenges that we might be dealing with. If you remember, back on the 4th of July, the message that I sent out was that I had been watching the Story of America all day on the 4th of July, and talk about perseverance. And remember what I said? What America started from was a dream. Somebody had a dream, and with faith crossed the big ocean and persevered through God knows what conditions to go across the ocean when you didn't even know what was on the other side and if you were going to find land. And they persevered. Then when they settled on the East Coast, they decided they needed to move west. They persevered because someone had a dream that there was more, there was better, there was bigger, there was different. And so they persevered. They packed up. They gave up everything they knew, and they went across country through, again, crazy conditions. When you think about the fact that they traveled by wagon train, they didn't have the modern conveniences we have, but based on a dream of a better life, they persevered. Now, I'm always looking for people who are dreaming for that better life and want to follow their passions to get there. And I tell you, that takes perseverance. No one says that it's going to happen overnight. I'll help you find your top 5 passions. I'll help you create the vision for that dream, the vision for that business, whatever it is. And then I'm going to give you tools to stay on track with that, to persevere after what it is you really, really want. Does that make sense, that definition, that feeling? So for myself, I went, I've persevered through a lot. I don't think I've shared this with you yet, but a few days, weeks, whatever, ago, my daughter said to me, "Mom, you're really brave." I'm like, "What? I am?" Can we discount ourselves? And she said, "Mom, you're really brave." And I'm like, "Okay, why?" And she said, "You started your own business when you were single with 2 small children. And you're still here doing it." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I am. I'm still here doing it." 12 years now into my business, I persevere because of a dream, because I want to help other people live in joy and peace and have fun with this life rather than living in the drudgery. And so I persevere to find the people that are open enough to welcome in that message and to get on the bandwagon with me and follow their passions and live that every day. So where, again, think about it, in your life, have you had to persevere? Have you had to struggle through it? And I think there's a sense of what we need to do is acknowledge it, right? We need to acknowledge when we're in that state. It's not going to go away. Those things are going to happen. Life hits us, right? And we need to continue. We need to persevere through it despite that. And what we need to do is acknowledge that we're doing that and give ourselves credit, right? Celebrate that I am strong enough. I am brave enough. I am enough. That's for my friend Darlene. I am enough, right? And I will persevere through this no matter what it takes. And we always come out on the other side, right? Based on results, how are we doing? We're still here. You're watching the video, right? You got technology, if you can see me. So you're doing pretty darn well, right? Then we talked about where have we persevered in a team setting, because we were about to go on the water in 2-man kayaks in a group of, we had 8 kayaks on the water, and we needed to be able to stay together and work as a team. I don't know if you've ever kayaked before. It was a new experience for me, but it's very rhythmic, right? Especially in a 2-person kayak, you need to be in the rhythm with your partner. And then you flow through the water with great ease and grace, right? Which is what we want in life, ease and grace. And so when you get in that rhythm in the kayak, wow, it's quite meditative, actually. Really a nice flow. Your body feels in flow. And life feels in flow. And you know, you've heard it from me before, right? When you get connected to your life's flow, everything comes easier. That was a demonstration for me of what that flow feels like when I got in that rhythm with my partner. Okay? Now, we could have hit some big waves, we could have hit some high winds, we could have hit some rain, and needed our spirit of perseverance to get through it, which was why our coaches were cultivating that spirit of perseverance in us and reminding us that we have it within us. We have that perseverance. We do it all the time. We fail to acknowledge it, right? It's back to the consciously living. Okay? Again, I want to remind you, the struggles will never all be gone. It's just life. It happens. And it's about how we react to it, how we persevere through it from a place of consciousness and centeredness and a flow, even in the face of wind and rain and high waves. We can get through it together. So I really picked up a lot of things from this experience that I'm going to take into our transformational treks and retreats in order to build more team in that environment as well. And I told a story of our first trek where we had to definitely persevere. Our goal was to have just a couple of light portages to get people used to the experience, and then camp like 2 lakes out from our starting point. And in the Boundary Waters, you can't reserve a campsite, right? So you just got to go find one that's available on that particular lake you thought you were going to stop on. Keywords there. Because what happened is we got to the lake we wanted to camp on, and all the campsites were full. So we had to take another portage. And we got to that lake, and all the campsites were full. So we had to take another portage. We got to that lake, and all the campsites were full. Now, as the leaders and trainers, of course, my sister and I are being brave, and it's okay. And we're thinking, okay, what are we going to have to do to persevere through this? We're thinking about the state of mind of the women who are with us, and are they going to be able to handle it, and are we going to make it, And just when we were trying to make a decision, and it's about getting dark, it was later in the evening, a crew came across a portage towards us, and we said, hey, any chance you took a look at the campsites on that other lake? And if so, do you know if there are any that are open? Because we're like getting tired and running out of a place to camp. And they said, oh, it's beautiful. No one is over at that lake. No one is over at that for some reason. And they had just been taking a day trip over there from their campsite on the current lake. And so they said, in fact, we searched out all the campsites. That's what we trekkers do, is you got to check them out and find the best ones, right? And so they had checked out all the campsites, and they said, we're going to tell you exactly which one to go to, so you don't have to look around, because we know which one is the best one. It gave us the inspiration, the power, the energy back in our step to take that one more portage to the next lake. And so we persevered through with a little encouragement from some other folks, and we got to that last lake. And we camped on that lake and stayed and rested for the next day, because honestly, we had persevered through 2 days of our trip in the first day. Now, how proud we were that we had accomplished that. And then we got to sit and rest as a team. It reminds me of another discussion that came up on the retreat that really touched me. And a minister from Madeline Island, it's a very spiritual place, said to us, the world has lost the ability to slow, to pause, and to build community, to stop and take the time to build community, right? And even in the face of struggles, we need to take the time to slow and pause and reach out to our community that we hopefully already built. But I will tell you that community will form around you in your hour of need, and you just need to have faith in that. So things come at us in life, right? And so I think of persevering with my brother Tom, who went through an aneurysm and strokes a couple of years ago, and he came out of his medical procedure that we thought was going to fix him and was absolutely, completely paralyzed. There was no movement anywhere in his body. It's a great lesson in spirit for me, because the only way I knew he was still with us is I could see his soul in his eyes. And from that moment forward, knowing that he was still inside that body with us, I was committed to helping him be successful. And together, we persevered through the challenges that he faced over the last 2 years. Now, I'm happy to report he has the movement of his upper body, at least to some extent. He has his voice back. He can feed himself and care for himself in those ways. He is still in a wheelchair, but he is persevering. And in honor of him, I love this so much. His son, apparently for years, his message to his boys was endeavor to persevere. Endeavor to persevere. And his son remembered this. And we put that quote on the wall in his hospital room and in his assisted living facility and every place he was. It's still in his room today, to endeavor to persevere no matter what's going on. We have the strength within us as human beings to endeavor to persevere. Just like the quote said at the beginning, all human beings, it's part of the human existence. It's part of our story. So rather than get lost in it, get depressed by it, get disturbed about it, the thing to do is to embrace it. Embrace it. And honor it when you're persevering through something, that you have the strength to do it. And use tools like slow down, make conscious decisions about what you're dealing with. Pause, stop, and take care of yourself. stop and meditate or pray if you're a meditator, or if prayer is your form of meditation. Pause. We think more clearly in a state of calmness. Calmer minds prevail. Another great quote. We use these quotes flippantly and often, right? And then we forget the depth of their meaning to us and the impact that they're really telling us. You know, in fact, remembering where we are at source, what our center is a key to living more peacefully in your life. Coming back to center, coming back to here. I have to know who that person is. I have to know that space in order to be able to get there. Slow, pause, and build community. So I want to tell one more story about community, because I said, you know, we hope that we've built that community around us, but sometimes that community comes in the form of angels that appear just when we need the support. And I want you to watch for that in your life, because in this adventure to my kayaking trip, I experienced this, and it's about noticing, right? Noticing the support that's around you, right? I am always supported when I am following my passion and doing what I'm meant to be doing. So I knew I was meant to go on this canoe trip, and I decided that rather than staying at the B&B, I needed to go camping up on the Northwoods, because, you know, I love it. And I just recently got a little pop-up camper, but I have never worked with it by myself. And I decided I was doing it. I was taking it up on this retreat, and I would figure out how to make it work. Now, key point, I don't know how to back it up. It's weird to back up a trailer. You got to turn in the opposite direction that you think you do. Anyway, so first stop, Duluth for a BNI conference. I get to Duluth. I needed help from a friend to find a place to park the camper while I was at this conference. She had a friend who no longer drives, an elderly woman, who said it would be okay for me to park it in her driveway. Good news, she lives on an alley, so I could kind of pull in forward and then tuck it in. So I only had to back up a little bit. A little confidence builder that I got it in there. First angel, my friend and her friend, who was willing to let me park there. Then I left the conference early and went back to the camper to pick it up on day 2 of my journey to go on to the kayaking adventure. And I got up to the house, and I'm about ready to back up to put my camper back on the car, and I went, I got nobody guiding me from behind. So I improvised. I'm jumping in and out of the car and going an inch at a time so I don't hurt the car or the camper, and trying to get the hitch on there. All of a sudden, this man comes down the road. He was mowing his lawn. I had noticed him, and he said, "Can I help you?" I'm like, "Yeah, that would be great." And so he guided me to back up onto my camper, helped me get it hooked up, made sure it was secure, which is important to me. And on my way I went. Then I realized I was running late, and I was going to miss the opening ceremonies of the kayaking adventure if I went to the campground and tried to drop off my camper first. So I made the choice to go straight to the retreat location, and the evening ceremonies didn't get over until nearly 10 o'clock. So now I got to go to a strange campground with my camper and in the dark. I persevered. Like, I could do this. There was another woman who was going to camp at the campground with me, but it was so late, she went off to set up her tent, and I was left looking for my campsite with my camper. Well, a man noticed me, and he said, "Can I help you find your spot?" I told him what number it was. He had a little headlamp on, and he walked around, and he found my number 17 spot. And then he says to me, "Do you know how to back it in?" And I went, "Nope, I don't." And he said, Let me do it for you. Sweet. His name was Ted. And Ted backed my camper into my camping spot for me. And then he said, I really need to get back to my camper. And I'm like, that's great. I got this from here. Pulling all my strength together that I can do this by myself. It took me an hour to set up the camper and get it level and all the parts and pieces out by myself. But I did it. I persevered. And it felt really great. So I highly encourage you to persevere through life, and more importantly, to recognize when you are persevering and honor yourself and take the time to slow and pause and look for the community around you who will support you through perseverance. Before I go, I want to read you a quote, and then I have to sign off for the evening. We're having a meeting about our August 13th event, but here is the quote for tonight. This is from David Whyte, who we heard a lot of his poems and messages on the retreat, so I wish to share them with you. Look up David Whyte, that's Whyte. Wanting soul life without the dark, warming intelligence of personal doubt is like expecting an egg without the brooding heat of the mother hen. Think about it. There will be dark, there will be challenges, there will be times you need to persevere. And know it's a part of your soul's journey, just a part of this life. And if I can support you through that in any way, I am a part of your community. Much love. Have a beautiful night. Hope to see you next Monday live at 6:30. I'll be broadcasting from Napa Valley, California.